Today we want to focus on the parts of the keyboard, and it's so interesting to learn the various parts of the keyboard.
Inventor Christopher Latham Sholes didn't know it, but his typewriter, the first with a modern layout, would end up being the forerunner to one of the most popular communication tools of the 21st century. Because even though in 1874, a typing device that assigns one letter to each key wasn't exactly the most brilliant idea in history, that title clearly belongs to the cinnamon bun, Sholes' typewriter was notable for introducing the now ubiquitous QWERTY layout, which was effective, supposedly, because it kept letters that were commonly used together away from each other to prevent the mechanical arms of the typewriter from hitting each other and causing jams. Jam. Now, of course, E and R are placed together in lots of words, and in fact, the original design had a period where the R key is today, but whatever the reason for this, QWERTY typewriters became very popular, and this keyboard layout, sorry Dvorak fans, remained the standard for the teleprinters that became widespread in the early 20th century. So it wasn't surprising then that when actual computers like the 30-ton ENIAC started popping onto the scene in the 1940s, these same teleprinters often ended up getting used for data input with that same QWERTY layout, setting the stage for the now familiar keyboard layout to be integrated into later machines that weighed less than an entire family of elephants. In the 1960s, video terminals started becoming popular, and these typically included keyboards that allowed users to more quickly and easily manipulate data on a screen instead of using cards or paper tape like those earlier teleprinters that were adapted for use with computers. Although these terminals looked like full-fledged computers, they were usually just a monitor and keyboard combo that had to be plugged into a larger sized system. However, since it was much easier to type than operate a computer by flipping a bunch of switches on the front or whatever, most computers featured keyboards of some fashion by the early 1980s. And we even started seeing some of the first ergonomic keyboards in the late 70s, with companies like Maltron seriously thinking about the user's comfort in a way that led to some very interesting designs. And it was a period of great innovation under the hood, too. Many early keyboards used key switches that were pretty different from what you're probably typing on right now, including ultrasonic switches that actually listened to the different vibration each key would make as it was pressed, and this one was a bit more common, ones that used magnets that got close to a pair of metal pieces, causing them to come into contact with each other whenever the key was pushed down. These were called reed switches. And while this concept is actually still in use today in applications like switching off a laptop when you close the lid, they proved to be too fragile and inaccurate for keyboards. So a couple of alternative designs quickly replaced reed switches. One was the familiar membrane, which works by placing a metal layer under each key that directly contacts traces on the keyboard's circuit board when a key is pressed down. This design is both inexpensive and resistant to debris, making it very common on cheaper keyboards today. Another was a technology that IBM patented in 1978, a spring-loaded key switch called a buckling spring. These puppies also worked by direct contact in that pressing down caused two pieces of metal to touch, but they proved to be not only extremely durable, but also a pleasure to type on and subjectively listen to. So while not the first mechanical switch, buckling spring switches gained enormous popularity thanks to their inclusion on the Model F keyboard that came with the original IBM PC in 1980, and later the Model M, which is still beloved by keyboard enthusiasts today for its high build quality and trademark springy sound. And not to be outdone in the mechanical switch arms race, German manufacturer Cherry started gaining notoriety in the mid-1980s after their switches came installed on some keyboards for the Commodore Amiga and proved to be of better quality than a lot of the alternatives. Of course, noisy, heavy mechanical switches aren't always the best solution, which I'm sure you, the viewer, can attest to if you've ever had a roommate typing away on their cherry blue keyboard while you're trying to sleep.
Shut up!
So rubber dome keyboards were developed around the same time. These gave the user tactile feedback due to the rubber dome snapping like a suction cup, but they were cheaper and quieter than their spring-loaded counterparts. Rubber domes have become common on chiclet-style keyboards, as well as on laptops in the form of the lower-profile scissor switch variant, which helps to save space. This trend towards light, cheap keyboards drove much of the evolution of the keyboard for the next decade or two, with IBM having the brilliant idea to cut costs by putting stick-on letters on keycaps in 1985 rather than having a different manufacturing process for every key. So fast forward to today, and basic keyboards are lightweight commodity items that can be easily found for less than $10. But there's also an enormous variety of other options out there at all price points, whether you want something tricked out with individual RGB backlighting and macro keys for gaming or productivity, a model with optical switches for fast response times, a trick we actually first saw in the early 1980s, or even a keyboard with no keys at all.
All right, good morning, class. How are you all doing? All right. The last time we started a new lesson learning about a computer keyboard. Today we want to continue and talk about the parts of the keyboard and how to use them. We are going to see the various parts of the keyboard because every area of the keyboard has a name and does a category of things, and it's important to know that we have various parts and they all have their names. Before I talk about the parts, let's look at the interfaces keyboard uses to connect to our computers. The keyboard ports and interfaces. Today, most keyboards connect to computers via either USB or a wireless Bluetooth connection today. But before USB, computers use PS2, serial ports, or AT-DIN5 as keyboard interface. Because of advancement, today we use a universal serial bus. And if you are using a wireless keyboard, you use a Bluetooth technology to connect your computer to your keyboard. But in the past, we used a famous PS2 and the serial ports. I'm sure you remember the serial port. And there was another port called the AT-DIN5. The PS2 is a DIN6. We'll talk more about that. Now, over here, you can see this USB connection here. And this USB connection, who can guess what device is trying to connect through this USB port? Which device is trying to connect to this laptop through this USB? Who can guess it? We are talking about keyboard, and you can see it written boldly here. Keyboard connecting to a computer via USB. If you have a laptop, you can still connect your laptop to a keyboard. Do you know that?
Yes.
You can connect an external keyboard to your laptop and you have two keyboards. The main laptop keyboard and a secondary keyboard. You can. Especially if your laptop has some keys that are not working. You can use an external keyboard. Do you also remember the on-screen keyboard?
Yes.
You can also use the on-screen keyboard. Let me open to the on-screen keyboard. To get on-screen keyboard, you just click on the start menu and just type keyboard. Immediately you start typing, you see on-screen here, and you click on it and you have your on-screen keyboard. This is a virtual keyboard and it works so well. If you want to type with it, you need to push it to one side, open to the program you want to type with. You can maximize the program and push the keyboard to a comfortable position. Make sure you click inside the program you want to type, activate the program, and then start typing from the keyboard. And whatever you type appears. Do you see? And this thing works perfectly. When you press enter, it works. When you press caps lock, it works. When you press shift, it works. When you press the numbers, they work. If you want the symbols, you get them, and everything works perfectly. All these keys, navigation keys and the numeric keypad, they all work perfectly. So this on-screen keyboard is another option for you. Because of this universal serial bus, today several devices are making use of it. In the past, this was how our keyboards were designed. 10 years ago, this was how keyboards were made. Look at the connector here. This was how keyboards were, and it was normal to find a keyboard like this. This was the design. It had this amazing port. The color never changes. Which color do you see? Purple. And this was a port, and this is a connector that connects to the port. So we used to use this interface until the universal interface became popular. Hello, did you hear what I said? I said we used to use this interface until the universal serial bus interface became popular. This interface here, do you know what it's called? It's called the PS2 port. When you look on the keyboard, you can call this the PS2 connector. Are you with me? So look at this keyboard and check the connector it uses. Can you see it? It uses what? The PS2. Are you with me? Today we don't use PS2 anymore, and I don't think we will ever go back to PS2. So if you never tried PS2, I'm not sure you get the chance again, unless you look for very old computers. And even to buy a keyboard with PS2 port, oh my god, I don't know where you can get that to buy. Anyway, let's continue. Today we want to focus on the parts of the keyboard, and it's so interesting to learn the various parts of the keyboard. Over here I have labeled all the parts and given them colors or numbers. I've given them numbers. Can you see? So we have the number ones. You can see the number one starting from here. This is our favorite escape key, and this escape key, who knows what it does? It has one main function. Who knows what it does? Pardon? To exit, to cancel. When anything pops up on your screen that you don't like, you press the escape at once to cancel. We always cancel with this key. We are not talking about backspace. We are talking about cancel. Have you seen escape on your keyboard? Yes. It always has the same location. So anytime you get a pop-up, you can just cancel. If you want to save and the save dialog box comes and you realize you don't want to save, you cancel. When you are closing a program and a pop-up comes, do you want to save? If you don't want, you cancel with escape. If you are using your computer and an advert just shows, you don't like it, you use escape to cancel. Escape is for canceling things, especially pop-ups. It is not for closing programs. It doesn't close programs. It only closes smaller windows. Hello. It closes dialog boxes and smaller windows. It doesn't close programs. For example, the browser I'm using, I can't close it with escape. When you press escape, it won't close. It doesn't close programs. Even Notepad, when I open to Notepad, I can't close it with escape. To close it, there are other sets of keys. And remember, if you learn keyboard shortcuts or keyboard combinations, you can do almost everything with your keyboard. Everything, including controlling your mouse. Do you see this mouse pointer? You can control it with the keyboard. Can you imagine it? Now, the number ones, you can see them starting here. 1. You can see other set of ones here. We have other ones here, and we have some here, right? How many ones can you see? Who can count for me? Are you sure? 11. So we have 11 ones, and the ones are all called what? They are called control keys. So anytime they ask you to locate the control keys, you need to know what the control keys are. Hello. I want you to look on your keyboard, or let me show you a keyboard. I think that's what I'll do. All right, this is a QWERTY keyboard. When we say QWERTY, I believe you know what a QWERTY is, right? The last time we learned about 2 popular keyboard layouts, and we said the first one is called QWERTY, which is the most popular, and the second is called what? Dvorak. QWERTY was invented by Christopher Sholes, or Christopher Latham Sholes. And who invented the Dvorak keyboard? Dr. August Dvorak. I never forget his name. Dr. August Dvorak. So he named the keyboard after himself, after doing years of research. He finished his research in 1932, and he patented his work in 1936. So sometimes when you search for Dvorak when it was invented, sometimes you see 32, sometimes you see 36, but it was because the patent right was completed in 1936. All right, now let's move to our control keys. When you look on your keyboard, of this keyboard, I want you to tell me what the control keys are. This is much clearer, right? All right, so this is a much clearer keyboard that I want us to use. All right, so let's look at this keyboard carefully and study it, because like I told you before, there are a number of things on this keyboard that you have no idea of. There are so many keys on this keyboard that you have never used before, you never knew existed, and today you are going to learn so much. All right, now who can mention any of the control keys? Yes, the Windows key. Okay, I don't like how they have designed this particular key, because here we see the home symbol, and I don't think that's what I like. Let me check other keyboards. Good, this is how it's supposed to be. Do you see this? This is a Windows logo, like Microsoft Windows. So this key is a special key called Windows key. Because Apple doesn't like Windows key, you won't find Windows key on Apple. Apple, they have their own key they've also added. They call it the command key. So Apple has a command, Windows has window. So that key is called the Windows key. So anytime they ask you what that key is called, what is the name? Windows key. Okay, I don't like this symbol, but I've showed you, right? Okay, so this is a Windows key. All right, apart from the Windows key, who can mention any other control key? Pardon? The escape key. So this one right here, this key is called what? The escape key. Are you here? This key is called the Windows key. Who else can mention any control key? The Alt key. Excellent. Alt key. This key is called the alternate key, or the Alt key. And guess what? Windows key, the Windows keys are 2. Hello. The Windows keys are how many? The Alt keys are also how many? Do you see that on your keyboard? On every keyboard you see the Windows keys as 2. Now, who can tell me the difference between the 2 Windows keys? Anyone? Anyone? No one knows because there is no difference between the 2. The 2 are placed there because you have 2 hands. And whichever one is comfortable for you to reach, with whichever hand you choose, that is what you use. They all work the same way. They have no difference. Are you with me? The same applies to the Alt key. There is no difference between the 2. It's just a matter of either your preference, what you prefer, or closeness to the shortcuts you are looking for. Because sometimes we press certain shortcuts. So let's say you want to press Alt and L, and you just want to use one hand to do that. You cannot put one finger here and stretch the other finger to L. Sometimes we try stretching, but it's not the best. If this Alt is closer to the L, you can just press Alt and L. When we use keyboard combinations, we hold a control key and we press an additional key. Once we do that, a function or a command will be activated. For example, let me come here and decide to close this particular program called Notepad. I'll press Alt, are you with me? And I'll press F4. Now I'm seeing something here called a dialog box. This thing is called what? This dialog box, what is it telling me? Okay, so it is asking me whether I want to save my work. And it only came because I have entered some text and I have not saved. If not that I have some text and I have not saved, we will not be seeing this. And if I had saved before, we will still not be seeing this. So now this is a dialog box. If you don't want this dialog box and you want it to be cancelled, do you see a cancel command here? Okay, so if you want to cancel with your keyboard, what do you press? Escape. Immediately you press escape, it will cancel. I told you escape is not used to close a program, but to cancel small windows and dialog boxes and pop-ups. Are you with me? All right, now let me press Alt and F4 again, and this time I will move to don't save. Have you seen this? Let me zoom in for you to see. Hello. Okay, now I'm going to teach you a secret. You want to learn a secret? All right, anytime there is a command in any program, hello, and you see that certain letters are underlined. Do you see some things underlined?
Yes.
Hello, do you see some things underlined?
Yes.
Okay, I want you to pay attention to those underlined letters. Under save, what is underlined?
Yes.
Under don't save, what is underlined? N. Watch what is going to happen. When I press N, it meant don't save, so the program is gone. Now before you will see those underlining, you need to press the Alt key. Hello, let me open to Notepad again, and I'll show you something on the menu bar. This is the menu bar, right? Do you see any letters underlined? Now when I press the Alt key, immediately you see some things underlined. Do you see?
Yes.
Once you see certain things underlined, you can now use your keyboard to navigate. So if I want to open to view, what do I press? Immediately I press V, it's as if I have clicked with my mouse. When the pop-up opens, you can still see other things underlined. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay, I want to go to edit. What do I press? Okay, so because of this pop-up, it didn't accept the E. I want this small drop down to go away. Because of this drop down, it didn't accept the E I wanted from here. I want this small drop down to go away. What do I press? Escape. So I press escape. Is it gone? Now let me press the E and see. Do you see it? Now when I press the E, I can see several other commands and they all have something underlined. Wow. So with just your keyboard and the letters, you can navigate your entire computer. If I don't want this drop down to show, what do I press? Escape. So escape is used to cancel a lot of things. I want to go to file, F. Wow. Let's say I want to print. What do I press? Hello. What do you see underlined? Okay. So this is different from using keyboard shortcuts to activate. It's also shortcuts, don't get me wrong, but for all those lists, they all have their direct shortcuts, like Control P for print. That's not what we use. We use Alt and we navigated through the file menu and we got to print and we press P. So today I've taught you something. This dialog box here helps you to print. You just choose the printer you want, set the number of pages you want or number of copies you want, and print. If I don't want to print and I want to cancel, what do I do? Pardon? Escape. Now let me take you to all the command buttons and you'll see something. Every command button here has something underlined. Do you see? This is a command button. Something is underlined, something underlined, something underlined. Only escape, only cancel doesn't have something underlined because there is a special key for canceling, which is what? So I press escape and it's gone. Are you here? Excellent. Who can mention any other control key? Any other control key? Yes. Okay, let's start with the ones here. The first control key is this. What is the name? This is the second one. What is the name? Control is the most popular control key used in Windows. When we talk about Windows computers, the control key is the most popular key used for shortcuts. Let me put it that way. The most popular key used for shortcuts in Windows. If you want to print, if you want to close, if you want to open, if you want to save, if you want to delete, if you want to do so many things, you can press Control and a different letter. For example, we have the famous shortcuts that we use in IT, and those shortcuts are here. They start from here. What do you see here? And this is what? And this is what? And this is what? These four, they are the most popular shortcut letters we use. All the others do some things, but these four are the most popular, and these four work with the control key. When you press Control Z, what does it mean? Undo, not can do. When you press Control Z, what does it mean? Undo. Now when we say undo, what does it mean? What's the meaning of undo? Yes.
It means you've done something you don't want to do.
Okay, so when you do something and you want to reverse it, you undo it. I did it and I've undone it. So I can tell you to undo what you did. Control X is also the most popular shortcut for cut. Cut. I'll ask you to repeat them to me. Control C is the most popular for copy. And Control V is the most popular for paste. Are you here? Hello. In IT, these are the most common commands we use. We undo, we cut, we copy, we paste. We do this all the time. Now, when we say Control Z, listen to me. when it comes to keyboard shortcuts, it does not mean that press Control and press Z. That's not what it means. It means hold Control and press Z. Hold Control and do what? Press Z. It is hold, not just press. So the Control key, you hold it and press the Z whilst you are still holding it. Let's try some of them. So let's come to Notepad here, and let me ask you what Control plus Z, what does it do? Undo. So you see what I have typed here. When I press Control and Z, you see what has happened? It has gone back to what I had before. I had this small text before I typed the Control Z. So undo has undone what I've done. In almost every other program apart from Notepad, whatever you do with any other or in any other program, hello, let me do some coloring here. Okay, do you see I've done some small work here? Okay, in almost every other program apart from Notepad, the Control Z records several actions in history. So what it means is that when you press Control Z for the first time, right now I'm using this and that, Control Z, again it will undo what you did, what you just did. The second one has taken place. Control Z will continue undoing, continue undoing, continue undoing. So if you just want to keep going back, you just have to be pressing Control Z, 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 and it will keep on undoing for you. Do you see? So it records all those actions in history. So you can press Control Z several times. Now when you undo, it means you did something and you want to reverse it, so you undo. Sometimes when you reverse something, you realize that you really didn't want to reverse, so you want to redo. So there's something we call redo. There's something we call what? Redo. So over here there's a shortcut here that says what? Redo. Because I did typing, it's telling me redo typing. So redo means you did it, you undid it, and now you want to redo it. So the shortcut is Control Y in Microsoft Word. When you press Control Y, it means you want to redo. But right now we are talking about the famous 4. Let's continue talking about them. So we said Control plus Z is equal to what? Undo. Then Control plus X is equal to what? Cut. What does it mean to cut? The text I have here, if I want to cut it, I'll press Control X and see what happened. It's gone, right? Now there is something called copy, and there's something called cut, and there's something called paste, right? These 3 are the functions of the clipboard. They are the functions of the what? They are functions of the what? When you say clipboard in computing, you are talking about a special memory locations where any copied item is stored and will wait there for pasting. For example, because I cut something, I can wait for 3 hours. When I press Ctrl V, what I cut will show. Hello? Because what I cut was stored in memory. That memory location is called what? Clipboard. Now, when you cut something, how many times can you paste it? Uncountable. So I can press Ctrl V, Ctrl V, Ctrl V, Ctrl V, and I can keep on pasting. I can paste till the close of the day. Are you with me? This is cut and paste. So when you cut, it actually copies to the clipboard and deletes it. That means cut. You don't want it there. So when there's an item anywhere, or an element anywhere, or an object anywhere, and you don't need it, you can press Ctrl X to cut it. Cut it means put it in memory and delete it. That is cut. Ctrl X. We also have Ctrl plus C. That is also very, very popular, and that is for what? Copy. Now, what is the difference between cut and copy? Cut will delete it, copy will not delete it, but they will all be copied to memory. They will all go into the clipboard. So we use cut and copy to send data into the clipboard. Please, are you here? So when I highlight this, remember, whatever you want to copy, you have to highlight. When I highlight this and I press Ctrl C, what has happened? I've copied, right? Now, when you copy for the purpose of pasting. When you cut for the purpose of pasting. If you don't want to paste, then there's no need to cut. You can just delete. Hello? I can press the backspace key or the delete key, and this will be gone, and it will not store in memory. But if I want to paste it somewhere, then I will cut it and it will be in memory. Now, whatever is in the clipboard will stay there until you restart the computer. Remember, we learned about RAM, that when you restart the computer, everything goes. Because when you copy, it goes to the RAM. But a special place in the RAM called the clipboard. So what I copied is still there. Do you remember copy? It is still there and will always be there until this computer is restarted. Number one. Number two, it will be there until something else is copied. When something else is copied, then it's going to do what? Replace that. Or when something is cut. So if you have not cut any different thing or copied any different thing, what you copied will be there. Even if the computer doesn't go for 3 days, it will still be in the clipboard. Hello. Excellent. Now let's go and talk about the last one. Sorry, let me just mention the last one. And the last one is Control what? V. And Control V is the most popular shortcut for what? Paste. These are the 4 most popular shortcuts in computing. Control Z, Control X, Control C, Control V. With the Control key, you can activate so many shortcuts, uncountable. I can give you a whole book of shortcuts. The shortcut for everything. These are just the popular, the most commonly used ones. All right. Are we done talking about the control keys? No, not at all, because there is a very serious control key that most people don't know. In Ghana, only 7 people know how to use it. Last year, Corona killed 5. It left with only 2 people. That key is this one. Have you seen what I'm pointing at? Wow, it's an incredible key. That key, do you know what it's called? Do you know what it's called? Tell me what is written on it and I'll tell you what it's called. Okay. That key is called a print screen. Oh my goodness. It's called a what? It's an interesting key. We use that key for what we call screenshots or screen capture. Anytime something is on your screen, if you want to grab it, take a screenshot or a photo of whatever is on your screen. When you press that key once, you have taken the shot. I'll let you try all these things. So right now, you put on your machines. We'll start trying them. Even when you are watching a video and you see a scene that you want to capture, you can just press the print screen and it will grab it. This particular key, I said the name is what? Print screen. And I said, what is it used for? To capture your screen, right? And it is very sensitive. All you do is to press on it how many times? That is it here. Press it once and forget it. You have captured. Do you want me to prove to you that I have captured the screen? Yes. Okay. You can open to any program that can paste an image or receive an image, like Microsoft Word. Now, if I want to paste, what's the shortcut for paste? Control V. See what is pasted. Have you seen what is pasted? This is my screen. I can paste this in Photoshop. I can paste it in any graphic design program. I can paste it in Paint. I can paste it in Word. Any program that can receive an image. I can't paste it in Notepad because in Notepad we don't do it. Notepad cannot handle images. So when you print screen, it captures to the clipboard. Hello. When you print screen, it captures to where? The clipboard. And so if you want to get it back, what do? You paste. Let me capture something else. I can capture anything. Do you see this circuit board? Okay, let's say I'm watching a video and I see something or someone. I can pause the video immediately and I press print screen once. I've gotten the person. So I'll go to any program that can paste images and press Control V and voila. Do you see it? It will capture every single dot on your screen. Whatever is on your screen, if you want to grab it, print screen. So now you know. Most people don't know about the print screen. Hello. Another control key I want to talk about that most people do not know is another key here that is called, watch this key. Who knows what it's called? Even the name, I'm sure it will be difficult for most people. What is that key called? Okay, that particular key, when you search through the notes, you are going to find it. But let me just tell you, it's called the menu key. It's called the what? It's called the what? The menu key. Now, all these keys, I have labeled them for you. So if you check if you go through the book, you are going to see all the keys. So this particular key, that's what I've labeled here. This one here. And if you check the name, that is the name here. What is the name of the key? Menu key. This menu key is a very unique key. It's a very what? Okay, let me move to my desktop and prove it to you. Now, anytime you want to, let's say, move around on your desktop. Right now I'm using the arrow keys. You see that I'm moving through these icons. Can you see that I'm moving through them? All right, I'm using the arrow keys to move. I can move in any direction I want. Now, if I want to open any program that I have selected like this, sometimes you may only have your keyboard and you have to do things with your keyboard. So I'm just moving around with the arrow keys. And if I want to open, I will press the enter key. The enter key will open any of the programs that are selected. If I move to it and I press enter, it will open. Are you with me? Sometimes I don't want to open, but I want to check options, or I want to see the menu. That is why on your mouse you have two buttons, the left button and the right button. Have you seen that every mouse used on Windows machines have two buttons? The left button and the what? Or the left click button and the right click button. Have you seen them? Those two buttons do different things. The left click button is always used for selecting or opening. If you want to open, you double click the left click button. But the right button on your mouse has one job, or one main job. 99% of the time, that is the only thing it does. And its job is to show you options. Anytime you want to see options on about anything, let's say this empty space, if I want to see options, I will right click and I'll see options. This is called a menu, and this is the options of where I right clicked. If I move to this thing and I right click, I'll get different options. You see the options are different, so this is a menu. If I move to something else and I right click, you see that it's different. You can see. So wherever you are, when you right click, you get the menu of that location or that item you are pointing at. When I'm using just the keyboard and I want to check my menu, the menu key is a key for me. When I press it, you'll see that I'll see my options or menu. Can you see? So it is called a menu key. If I don't want this menu again and I want it to go, what will I press? Escape. It's gone. I can use my arrow keys to continue moving around. If I want to check the options of this program, what will I press? The menu key, and I'll get the menu of that program. Then I can use the arrow to go through the menu. I don't know if you are seeing, but I'm moving through. Can you see?
Yes.
I can move through, and when I get to any of the options I want, I can hit enter to select. Are you with me? So we can use our keyboard to browse our computer. Without the mouse, you can do so many things. Now, one thing that most people were wondering how you could do was to show the menu, but they didn't know that we have a special key for menus. That key is called the menu key. Have you seen it? Excellent. So we've looked at the control keys. Now let's move to the number twos. We can see several 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 here, and these 2 2 keys, they are called the function keys. Are you here? They are called what? They are called the function keys. Now these function keys are the F1 to F12. They are always 12. So we have F1, F2, F3, F4, F5, F6, F7, F8, F9, F10, F11, F12. Have you seen them on your keyboard? All right. They are called the function keys. When it comes to laptops feature an FN key in addition. That FN key is not the same as the function keys we are talking about. These function keys are located at the top here. Can you see them? Let me read what it says. The function keys are lined along the top of the keyboard and are used to perform specific tasks. The functionality of these keys differ from program to program. They are labeled as follows. F1. F1 is usually used as the help key in almost every program. It opens a help screen. So anytime you are using a program and you need help, you just press F1 and a window will open. Something will definitely open. And what will open will always give you help. For example, when I press F1 just now in Google Chrome has opened to a help window for me, and they are asking me to type what I want to know. So most of the time when you open to help, you will get a search box for you to type any help you want, or you get a list of items that you would want to do, and when you choose any of them, you will get help on those things. So F1 is always help. In computing, F1 is for help. F1 is for help, so much so that computer scientists and computer engineers sometimes use F1 in place of help. One day someone was drowning in the swimming pool. Not knowing he was a software engineer, and when he was drowning, instead of calling for help, he was shouting F1, 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 F1. The people there didn't know the meaning of F1, so he drowned and died. In the computer world, F1 means help. Apart from F1, the other function keys do different things. For example, F2 helps you to rename selected icons. So, for instance, if I'm here and let's say I have a folder here, and this folder I want to rename it, I can just click on the folder, press F2. Immediately I press F2, the text will be selected for me to enter a new name. Can you see? So F2 can be used to rename. Now you can learn about all the function keys and you realize that there are a whole lot of things you can do. In most computers, if you want to enter the BIOS setup, immediately the computer begins to boot, you can press F2 and it will take you to BIOS. Most beginners have never seen the BIOS environment before. When a computer is starting, they can tell you press F2 to enter setup. Other computers will say press F9 or F10 to enter setup. So when you press, it takes you there. These function keys, we cannot tie a specific function to them. They are open keys that different programs use for different functions. So if I create a software right now, I can assign F8 for something special. I will assign it in my program. So anytime my users press F8, what I assigned will happen. This F5 also has a particular function that is always like that. Not always, but it's always like that. So the F5, when I press F5, you see something happen on my screen. When I press F5, you see a flash on my screen. It's supposed to be very fast. We call that refresh or reload. So when you press F5, it will refresh wherever you are, especially when you are browsing the web and you want to reload your page. You can press F5 and the page will reload. Let's say the page is not showing well, you want to reload it. You press F5, you see that it will reload. At the top here, you see that it's reloading. Good. So as for F5, it is mostly, let me say 95 or 99% is for refresh or reload. The others, you can read what this says, but we can't really tie specific functions to them because they are open. The F12 usually opens a save as dialog box. So if you have saved the file and you want to save as, later we'll learn about the difference between save and save as. If you want to save as, you can use save as, and F12 will open the save as window. All right, let's move on. Apart from the function keys, we also have what is called the typing keys or the alphanumeric keys. So when you say alphanumeric, it refers to letters, numbers, sometimes symbols. So those are called the typing keys, and we use them for typing. Are you with me? Those keys are incredible, and we use them for typing. Now, apart from tab, have you seen the tab? Have you seen the tab key?
Yes.
The tab key is always used for indenting. It's always used for indenting. For example, when I'm typing something here like this, let's say I have name and I want to move to a block. I press tab and it has moved to one indent or one block. When I press tab again, to move to the next block. When I press tab again, to move to the next block. When I press tab again, are you seeing my cursor?
Yes.
It will move to the next block. Then here, let's say I'll type telephone, then tab, 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 email address. Can you see this? Okay, now I didn't press space for that block or that indent. I use a tab, and this is so helpful because watch this. If I type a name, Francis what? Dollar. Okay. Now watch this. I'll press tab 1, 2, 3, and I'm on that block again. Telephone, I can type. Have you seen it? If I want email, I'll move to that block. 1, 2, 3. I'm there. Then I have the email. Now enter the next person. I type the name. Then I want to move to email. Tap, tap, tap. I'm there. Are you seeing this? With the help of the tab key, I can type a whole list and they will all be in line perfectly. This thing, when beginners are typing, they try to use space, 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 space. You can see how much time it is wasting, and it is wrong. And when you finish, the list will look like this. Are you getting me? It will never be straight. With a tab, it will move to the indent and that block straight. I can enter the number, use tab, move, enter the email, and I will create my whole list and they all be in line. Are you with me? Now, let's say I want to, let me use Notepad to explain that. Or watch this. I told you that F12 will open what? The Save As dialog box. Now, let's say I don't have a mouse. Let's say I don't have a mouse to control the various options in this Save As dialog box, and I only have a keyboard. Right now, when I start typing, this is an area that will be affected because that is the highlighted area. Are you getting me? Now, when I press tab, the selection has moved somewhere else. I'm pressing tab, and I want you to check whether some changes are happening. Do you see some changes happening? Anytime you press tab, it moves to a different selection, or the selection moves to a different command. If I have only a keyboard and I want to control this, I will use tab, tab, tap, tap till I get to where I want to go. Right now, where am I? Let me see. Okay, I'm on cancel. Do you see that it's on cancel?
Yes.
Now it means when I press enter, cancel will be activated. Let me move, press tab again. I can see where I am. Tab again. I can see where I am. Now I can use the arrow keys to control it based on where I am. Can you see I'm controlling?
Yes.
If I want that, if I don't want that thing again, I'll press escape for it to go. I'll press tab again. Then it to move to a different section. I can see the section. You see something happening?
Yes.
That's where I am now. If I don't want that place, let me press tab again. I'll move away from there. Tab again. Now I know where I am. Can you see something happening?
Yes.
Okay, so with the tab, I can move to one area, to another area, to another area, to another area, and I can control those areas if I only have a keyboard. So the tab is used for indenting in word processors and for moving between options. For example, I want to get to save. I'll press tab, 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 tab till the command comes on to save. When it comes on to save, it's on it. I can press enter to activate it. I get me. Alright, let me press escape and cancel it. We are talking about the typing keys, right?
Yes.
Now we have a key here called the caps lock key. The caps lock key. The caps lock. Have you seen the caps lock key?
Yes.
The caps lock key, it is controlled by an indicator light here. Later we'll look at these three indicator lights. Have you seen these lights?
Yes.
The indicator lights. This particular one here. Once you press the caps lock, you see the indicator light on. Please, can you see the indicator light?
Yes.
When the indicator light is on for the caps lock, that light is only for caps lock. The other lights, the other two lights are for other things. Hello? The other two lights are for other things, but the middle one is for caps lock. Whenever it's on, it means when you type the alphanumeric keys, you are going to get your letters in what? Upper cases. In capital letters. So if you want to type in capital letters, you turn on the caps lock key. Alright. I'm going to tell you something and you'll be surprised. Now watch this. Under the caps lock key, we have another key called the shift key. You've seen the shift key, right?
Yes.
And the shift keys are actually two. There's one here. This one is a shift key. So they give you two because you have two hands. And the shift key is one of the most important keys on the keyboard. Anytime professional typists are typing, without the shift keys, we can never type fast. Alright, you see what I've typed? Can you see that certain things are capital and certain things are small letters? Can you see? Are you sure you can see? Alright, without the shift keys, you cannot have some things in capital and some things in small letters. What I see beginners do, like one lady I saw yesterday, anytime she needs capital, she'll wait, go and press the caps lock, come back, type, go back to caps lock and off it, and come and continue. If you type like that, let me tell you, you can never type fast, and we don't type like that. I didn't use caps lock for the capital letters, and when I'm typing, I can type any capital letter I want at any time, because there is the what? What the shift keys do is to help you switch between lowercase and uppercase. So if I want to press D in capital, I'll hold shift and press D like this. So I'll go like this very fast. When I hold shift and I press D, I'll get it in capital letter. When I don't hold shift, I'll get it in small letter. So anytime I'm typing and I need a capital letter, I have two hands. If this hand is supposed to press the letter, I'll use this one for the shift and this one for it, and it will be instantaneous. Are you following? If this finger or this hand here is supposed to press the letter like D, this hand is free, so it will go and press the shift for me. So it will be instantaneous. That is why they've given you 2 shift keys, and when you are typing and you want to switch between upper and lower keys, just hold down the shift key and press the key you want. Now let me explain something to you. So we have 2 shift keys, right? If I want to press D here, my right hand will press this and hold, and my left finger will press the D. That is how we type very fast. And I'm saying that to tell you that almost all the alphanumeric keys, apart from the command keys here, I'll call these alphanumeric command keys, like the tab, caps lock, shift, enter, backspace. They are all part of the alphanumeric keys. They are for commands or actions, so you can say they are action keys. Apart from that, all the other keys have at least 2 characters on them. All the other keys have at least 2 characters on them. Please, are you here? All the other keys have at least 2 characters on them. Let's start from the top here. This particular key, there are 2 symbols on it. Please, have you seen? It has a tilde and a back quote. Do you remember them? This particular key has exclamation and 1. Have you seen? This one has a @ symbol and 2. Can you see that? This one has a hash symbol and 3. Have you seen? The first one has the dollar symbol and 4, right? Now let me tell you something. Anytime you press any of those keys, like the 1, you get the bottom character. Anytime you press a key, you get what is at the bottom. Are you following? Yes. You don't get what is at the top. You get what is at where? What is at where? So even the back quote, when I press it, I'll get the bottom one. What is at the bottom? You can see that the back quote is at the bottom. Can't you see that? Yes. Now, if you want the characters at the top, what happens is this. Let me tell you. Just like the typewriter, that's how they've designed the typewriter. We have, let me show you the typewriter. Please, are you here? Okay, look at the typewriter bars. You can see some characters at the bottom and some at the top. Hello? Yeah. When the typewriter was invented, to help us switch between upper and lower case, they created 2 characters on each metallic bar. And what it means is that if you want the uppercase, you need to press a shift key on the typewriter. The typewriter also has a shift key. And when you shift, this metal will shift. What it means is that if this particular typewriter creates the letter by hitting on a ribbon and on the paper, the ribbon is in between the paper and this bar. When you press or when you depress it, it will go and hit the ribbon and create the print on the paper. So it prints by hitting. Are you with me? So when you are typing, it will be hitting the paper and be creating the print. Now what happens is that when you press down the shift, you will see that the metallic bars will shift either downwards or upwards. And what it means is that one area, if I shift, for example, without pressing the shift, it is the bottom keys that will be working, the lowercase keys. But when I hold shift, you will see that the bars will shift to the top here. And when I hit any of them or press any of them, it is this part that will be hitting the ribbon. Are you following? That is the same thing that happens with computers. When you press the shift key, something shifts from the bottom to the top. And so when you press any key holding down shift, it is the character at the top that will show. So when I hold a shift, this time it is the top characters that are showing. Can you see them? Excellent. What you may not know, or may not have guessed is that even the alphabet keys also have two what? Characters on them. Hello? When you learn our ASCII encoding system, you realize that we have a different ASCII code for small letter A and a different ASCII code for capital letter A. What is the ASCII code for capital letter A? 65, right? And what's the ASCII code for small letter A? 97. To the computer, these two symbols are very different. They are not the same. The computer doesn't know that this capital A and this small a. They are two different symbols. Just that in the English language, we see them as capital A, small a. Are you with me? And so, these two characters have all been put on the same key on the keyboard. This way. The small letter is at the bottom, the capital one is at the top. And so there are some keyboards that when you look at the keys, you see that the capital letters are at the top. Just study your keyboard carefully and you can tell me. The capital letters, some of them are printed at the top. Look at this keyboard here. Are they not written at the top? Because there's something at the bottom. And if they write it, the keyboard will look too clumsy. So they didn't write it. And so when you press any key, it is the bottom character that will be activated. You only get the top one when you hold shift. So you can see that the top ones are in capital, right? That means when I hold shift and I press, I'll get capital. Are you following? This particular key, without pressing the shift key, if I press just this, I'm going to get small p. But when I hold the shift key and I press the same key, it will move up. It will shift. And I'll get what? Capital P. Do you get it now? We also have the caps lock that will lock it at one position. It will lock it to the top. The caps lock will lock it to the uppercase keys. And when the caps lock is on, whatever you press will only appear in uppercase. Just like the typewriter, it also has that. When you press it, it will lock somewhere. But when you use shift will only work when you are holding it. So we only use the caps lock when we are typing in upper cases. When you are typing titles or topics or in all capital letters, there is no reason for you to be using shift and be struggling. When you are typing in all caps, that is when we use caps lock. But when you are typing sentences, we use shift for capital letters. We don't use caps lock for capital. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. Excellent. You people are so smart. Let's continue. Over here, which key is here? Tell me. Shift, right? On top of shift, we have what? Enter. The enter key can break a line in a word processor and can also activate an action. So it is an action key or a return key or a line break key. When you are typing in Microsoft Word and you want to move to a new line, you have to press which key? Have you ever used Microsoft Word before? If you want to move to a new line, you see you use enter, right? It's called line break. So you break the line to a new line. In typing, we break the line. But when a command is highlighted and you hit enter, it means you are activating a command. So Anytime we write a command and we want to activate the command or execute, enter is the main key for execute or action. Let's read what enter says. I've given you information on all the keys. In your book, you can see that everything is there. So you have to read to understand well. Now listen, enter key or enter, alternatively known as return key. The enter key sends the text cursor to the new line when typing. Did you see that? It sends the text cursor to where? To a new line when you are typing. Or execute a command or operation. Did I say that too? Most full-size PC keyboards have two enter keys, so you can see one here and one there. They all do the same work. They will all work. The reason why we have the small one here, do you want to know the reason?
Yes.
Is that over here we call this a numeric keypad. We call it what?
Numeric keypad.
This numeric keypad, typists get training only in numeric keypad. So when you are learning typing, you learn the alphanumeric here or only numeric. If you work at the supermarket and you enter a lot of numbers and you print receipts, you use only the numeric keypad. Hello. So when you finish learning typing here, you have to come and learn typing here. And when you enter any number, any set of numbers, and you want to continue, you press enter, enter, enter. We use only one hand for typing here. Hello. Even in Mavis Beacon, you can tell Mavis Beacon that you want to practice the normal alphanumeric keys, or you want to practice the numeric, and it will only give you numeric. You type numbers, you learn how to type numbers and press enter, type enter, type enter. So if you want to work in a supermarket, you need to practice this because you'll be entering a lot of numbers. We don't use this one for a lot of numbers. These ones here, we use them for typing. So I can say that have you seen this? We use the numbers at the top in the middle of typing, and whenever you want to use them, they will work. When I'm typing, I don't want to move to the numeric keypad for numbers. Do you want to do that? It will interrupt your typing speed. But you can see that when I was typing, I didn't stop to press number 2. Did you see that? I can get number 2 in the middle of typing. So when you are typing, you are trained to stretch your finger to get numbers. So if I want numbers, I'll still continue my flow and be getting numbers. So those ones are there for typing. That's why they are called typing keys. These ones are for inputting digits, numbers. So if you are working with lots of numbers, you work in this area. I'll get there soon. Now we've seen the enter key, right? What I want to talk about is this particular key here. What's the name of this key? Backspace. Who knows what the backspace does? So the backspace key or backspace key is used to delete any character before the current position of the text or delete to the left. Do you know that when we are clearing text, do you see what I'm moving around? Yes. It's called the cursor. But when I click here, something will be blinking. What is blinking is called the text cursor. Let me use Microsoft Word for you to see. Okay, do you see something blinking?
Yes.
That is called the text cursor. Apart from that, what is moving around is called the cursor. Do you see something moving around? Yes. We call it either the mouse pointer or the mouse cursor. That's the mouse cursor. But what is blinking here is there for you to input text. So it's called a text cursor. Now, when I click inside this name, I'm in the middle of the name, right? When I press the backspace right now, what will be cleared? You see the 0 is gone. Backspace again, what is gone? D. What if I want to clear to the right? There is another key called what? Delete. The delete key, watch this. When I press it, you see that it is not clearing to the left, but it's clearing to what? Anytime you use a delete key, you always clear to what? The right. Where is the delete key? The delete key is right here. Have you seen it? Good. So the backspace here, delete is here. The backspace tool is used when you are browsing your Explorer. Do you see this window? It's called the Windows Explorer. When I move into a folder and I want to go back, I can press the backspace key and it will go back to where I was before I came here. I can press backspace here again and it will go back to where I was before I came there. Are you with me? So the backspace can be used to move back in a browser or an Explorer. Now I want to introduce you to Windows R. Now press Windows D to minimize everything. Good. When I say whenever you are pressing shortcut, hold the control key before you press the letter. And when I say control key, I'm talking about whichever control key you are using, either Alt, Windows, or Control, or if you are using Apple, the Command key. Okay, now listen to me. Are you here? Let's all press Windows R. Windows R will open a special box that is called the run. So we use it to open the run box. Have you seen run? Let me tell you, run is the main method or procedure used for opening computer programs. Hello? Stop talking and listen to me. Run is the main method or procedure used for opening computer program. Any computer program you want to open, this is where you are supposed to open it. Every other method is a shortcut. So when I type Windows R, I will put in the name of the program I want here, and it will send it into the operating system as a command, and that program will start. Are you with me? For example, when you type Excel in that box and you press enter, Microsoft Excel will open. Try it. Just type Excel and don't make a mistake. Excel. That means you should know how to spell Excel. If you can't spell Excel, I will not help you. Who has gotten it? If you didn't get it, then you made a spelling mistake. Please, have you seen it? All right. To close any program, we use Alt plus F4. Let me type it here for you to see. Alt plus F4. The F4 here is the function key F4. It's not F and 4. There's a function key called F4. This is what we use to close a program. We don't use escape for closing. We use Alt and F4. Alt and F4 will always close. Right now, press Alt and F4 and your Excel will be closed. But make sure the Excel is showing. If you have minimized it, it won't close. Alt F4 can also shut down the computer. Hello? I said Alt and F4 can also do what? And that will happen if there is nothing open and you press it. If there's something open and you press it, that thing will close. So right now I have Excel open. Can you see Excel? When I press Alt and F4, you see that Excel is gone. So it's for closing. Are you okay? Excellent. Now let's press Windows and R again, and this time we are looking for Microsoft Word. To get Microsoft Word, don't type Word, it won't work. You will type this. I want to show you what you will type. Are you with me? You type this. Type this, WinWord, and press enter. Did you get Microsoft Word? Excellent. Maximize it. Let me show you something. Watch this. Over here we have 3 commands here. The first one here is what? The second one is what? And the last one is what? So when they say maximize, don't go and close. Anytime you are using a program, make sure you maximize it. Sometimes I'll see someone trying to browse something and the window is so small and he's still struggling and checking and moving left, right, struggling. I see this all the time. Please just maximize it and be free. Unless you want it in that size for a purpose. For example, I can open to another folder. Watch this. I can open to another folder and I want these 2 folders side by side. So I can take this folder, use it to hit this wall. When I hit this wall, these ones will become small for me to choose. I can choose this and then they will become side by side. So let's say I'm copying something from here and I'm dragging to here. So I can do this if I want. But if I'm not trying to do something like this and I'm using a program, sometimes Microsoft Word, or you are browsing the web and the whole browser is so small and the person is struggling, just maximize it and be free. All right. Every program has an image name, and that name can be found in the task manager. When you go to the task manager, you will see the name of every program. So under details will bring the image name or the name of every program. You can see here name, right? Every program has a name, and the name will show here with an extension called .exe. That means it's the executable file. If you find Microsoft Word among this list, now in this list, every program that is running will be in this list. This list is for programs that are running. I want you to see something. When I find Microsoft Word in this list, let me tell you the name of Microsoft Word. When Microsoft Word was created, it was given a name, WinWord. So the executable is winword.exe. The program is called WinWord. So when you type Word, the operating system will not know what is Word. When you type Microsoft Word, you have worsened the case. You have to type WinWord. As for Excel, it is recognized as Excel. Let me show you something. I'm not going to use the run, okay? But watch something. I'm going to click here and I'm going to select PowerPoint. Let PowerPoint start, then we'll go into the task manager and check how PowerPoint is recognized. When you see how PowerPoint is recognized, that is a name you should put in the run box. Every program has a recognized name in the operating system. For example, Notepad is just called Notepad. If you want to open to Notepad, just open to run and type Notepad. It will work every time. If you want your control panel, you can type control or control panel. It will work. Now that I've opened to PowerPoint, let me show you how PowerPoint is recognized. In my task manager, I'll look for PowerPoint and you tell me I found it. What is the name? PowerPNT. Forget about the .exe for now. Go to your run box and type PowerPNT. Windows R first, PowerPNT. Don't make any mistake. Excellent. You see? So once you type the recognized name of the program, it will open it. So this is how we open programs in computers. When you bring the icon to the desktop, it is just a shortcut. Computers are being used all over the world today. And anyone who lacks computer education is at a great disadvantage. So we have a lot to learn, and we have to learn fast and learn now. Don't say you learn tomorrow. You have to learn now. Don't say you'll learn later. You have to learn now. The kind of IT that is going on today, if these basic things, you don't know them, then you have a lot of work to do. The IT that is in the future we are heading towards, if these basic things you have not mastered them, then you have a lot of work to do. Hello. Today the world is divided into two, and we call that the digital divide. We call that what? The digital divide. The digital divide separates human beings into two today. Those at the right side of the digital divide are the people for the future, for the digital world, the information world, the IT world. All those at the left side of the digital divide have little hope in the future. You don't have to be at the left side of the digital divide. When you go home, research on the digital divide. Make sure you are at the right side of the digital divide, so that you'll not be in a disadvantage, because the future coming, if you don't educate yourself now, trouble for you. Some people, when you tell them, they don't care, they don't listen, they don't understand, they don't hear you. All they know is playing and watching movies and TikTok and Snapchat, and you educate yourself. If you don't have a laptop, get a laptop. A laptop will take care of 40% of your IT education alone. Having a laptop alone will take care of 40% of your IT education. If you don't have a laptop, you struggle in learning IT. When you get a laptop and you study IT, things will be much better for you. I'm not saying everything is okay, but things will be much better for you. If you don't have a laptop, please, your problem is worse. I'm just telling you the facts. Your problem is worse. When you get a laptop, 40% of the work is done, because your laptop will be with you every day. You'll be doing things every day. If only you don't use your laptop just for movies and music, because some people, their laptops are just there for series, season 1, season 2. It's like having a car. If you have a car, 40% of your driving lessons will be taken care of just by owning the car. If you don't have a car and you are learning driving, they will teach you and teach you and teach you and teach you. It will still be hard. If you have a car, after just few lessons, experience will make you a master. By just driving around small, you will just be an expert automatically. A time will come, no one will teach you anything because you know everything because you drive every day. That is how it is with laptops. If you want to learn IT and you don't have a laptop, so please, a word to a wise. All right, we are almost there. Let me check the part of the keys we've not looked at. Let's try and finish fast. All right, now number 4, you can see all the keys here for number 4. Those keys are called what? Navigation keys. And these navigation keys are so amazing. Let's start by talking about the arrow keys. We use the arrow keys to move around. Even this particular window I'm seeing, if I want to scroll, I can use the arrow key to scroll. The arrow key is used for moving in directions. They are also called the directional keys. Up, down, left, right. If you are playing a game and you want to be moving around, use the arrow keys to move up, down, left, right. If you are in any program like Microsoft Word and you want to move around, you can use the arrow keys to move around. And you see that my cursor is moving, so I can move around with the arrow keys. Now, apart from the arrow keys, we have the keys at the top here, and that's what I want to show you. The first one is called what? INS. It's called the insert key. There are some keys, they are actually outdated because we used to use them in the past. Today we don't use them that much. Like the insert, we used to use the inserts in the past, but today we don't use it that much. The insert key was an interesting key in the past, and what it did for us today is not working unless probably you go into the settings and you set it. For example, if you bring your text cursor in front of this Francis and you start typing, let's say you are typing another name like Nathaniel, you see that it is pushing Francis out to the right. Those days, if you press insert key, it will not push Francis, it will be replacing, it will be typing over it. It is used to insert to overwrite. So when I press N, N will clear the F and N will be there. So when you keep on typing, it will be typing over it. It will be doing overwrite. So that's what we use the insert key for. Alright, the next key to the right is called the what? The home key. Home key is still used today and it's a very, very important key. Please watch what it does. Do you see where my cursor is right now? Here. Do you see the cursor? Are you sure?
Yes.
Good. Now watch this. I'm going to press the cursor and it's going to bring me to the home. When I press it, tell me where the cursor is now. I'm going to press it 1, 2, 3. I've pressed it. Where is the cursor now? Where is it? That is before the F, right? That is my home. The key under home is what? End. I'm going to press it and you tell me where end is. I press it. Where's the cursor now? At the end. So in word processors, when you want to go to the first line or in front of the first line, you press home. Home means first line or in front of first line. Are you with me? Also, a program like Microsoft Word, you may have several pages. You may have several pages. Like right now, If you check here, I can see page 5 of 5. That means I have 5 pages. You see that I'm on a different page. When I hold Control and I press Home, Control Home means bring me to the first page and the first line. So when you are dealing with pages, you add Control. When you are dealing with lines on a single page, you just press the Home. So Home and End, you can see what they do. Are you here? Okay. The left of End, what is there? Delete. And we've used delete already, right? What does delete do? Okay, watch this. When I click in front here and I press delete, you see that it is deleting text to the right. Have you seen it? Yes. Apart from deleting to the right, it is also used to delete files. It's used to delete what? And folders. And what? If I have a folder on my desktop that I don't need again, I'll click on it and press the delete key. When I press the delete key, it will delete it and it will disappear. You see that I have deleted something? Good. So we use it for deleting. Backspace does not delete files. When you are not in a text editor and you press backspace, it means you want to go back to your previous window. I told you that you can use it to move backwards, even when you are browsing your Windows Explorer. Hello. But when it comes to delete, when you select anything and you press delete, it's going to delete it. So we use the delete for deleting files and folders, and also for deleting text to the right. Are you here? Okay. To the right side of Home, what is there? Page what? Watch this. Watch this. When I press page up, tell me what happens. I'm just pressing page up. What is happening? It's scrolling up. So if you have any document with several pages and you don't want to use your mouse to scroll, we have page up and page what? Page down will scroll where? Downwards. Have you seen it? Have you learned something? We have page up and page down. Okay. On top of or beside the print screen to the right, what is there? Scroll lock. Okay, press scroll lock and tell me which light comes on. Which light comes on? Is it the third one?
Yes.
The indicator light. Which one comes on? The third indicator light here. When you press scroll lock, it comes on, right?
Yes.
Press the scroll lock again. Is it off? Yes. Press the scroll lock again. Okay, good. The scroll lock has a dedicated indicator light, just like the caps lock. Hello. Today we don't use a scroll lock that much. We used to use it in the past. There are some keys they are getting out of the system because IT is changing. At first, when you are in a program that the arrow keys can perform two functions, you use a scroll lock to lock the scroll bar so that the arrow keys will help you to scroll down and up. Things are a little different, so we don't use that scroll lock that much. Let me read what is written under scroll lock and you will see what I'm talking about or anything else to learn. Scroll lock. Have you found it in your book? Scroll lock. I've seen it. Now look on the screen. Scroll lock key, sometimes abbreviated as scroll lock. The scroll lock key is often located close to the pause key on the keyboard. While not often used today, the scroll lock key was originally intended to be used in conjunction with the arrow keys to scroll through the contents of a text box. Did you see that? It was used in conjunction with what? The arrow keys to scroll through the contents of a text box. It has also been used to stop the scrolling text or halt the operation of a program. The scroll lock indicator light will turn on when the scroll lock is enabled. So you've seen the indicator light, right? Today we don't use a scroll lock that much. So there are two keys I've showed you that are not used that much today. Number one is what? Insert key. Number 2 is what? The scroll lock. Those 2 keys are out of the system today. Now, to the right of scroll lock, what do you see? Pause and break. Okay, I'm adding another one. Pause and break is also out of the system today. In the past, we used to use it. Today, it may work. Let me try something and see. For example, I can run a continuous operation, and that operation will keep running. But if I want to stop it, I can press the pause and break and halt it. So when an operation is running and you press the pause and break, it has paused. Let me press enter and see. It has continued. Pause. Wow. So when I'm going through this list and I want to pause and check, I can use pause to pause it, enter to continue, pause to check, enter to continue, pause to check, enter to continue, pause to check, enter to continue, what? Pause to check, enter to continue, and what? Excellent. Now, if I want to pause it completely, I can use control and pause, and it will halt it. Today, we don't do a lot of continuous operations like that, or loop operations. In the past, we used to do a lot of loop operations, because you enter some commands and it will be looping and running and running and running. If you want to pause that operation, use a pause key. It's also called a break key. We use it to break an operation or pause an operation, or sometimes let's read what is there. Pause or break key. Now, pause key, located near the top right of most PC keyboards and found on the same key as a break key. So there are 2 keys. The pause key may be used to temporarily halt a computer process. Did you see that? On a computer with the Windows operating system, users can also press the Windows key with the pause key to bring up system properties windows. So Windows and pause, you get your system properties window, and that is it. So that's also a shortcut. Do you know the Windows key? So Windows key and the pause key will show your system properties. The system properties is what you get when you right click on this PC and you go to properties. On the desktop, you see an icon called this PC. Do you have it? Good. This PC, if you don't have it, you can enable it. When you right click on it and you click on properties, you get properties, and that tells you your CPU speed, the CPU type, your RAM, your operating system, and other things. So we've learned another shortcut. Okay, good. Now, the most common use for the pause key today is to pause the screen outputs from the BIOS when a computer is first booting. Wow. So you see the BIOS script that will be running. When you on a computer, you see some writings. You can pause them. That's the pause key. Let's look at break key. The purpose of the break key was to intermediately halt execution of a running program. The same. On modern computers, it has no default function. It is not commonly used, although any software may use it for its own purpose. So this particular key is also becoming obsolete. It's also becoming useless. But at least we have seen some 1 or 2 uses of it. So the pause key is not completely out. At least it can do 1 or 2 things, even though not often. All right. Now, what we have left are the numeric keypads, right? Excellent. The numeric keypad has a very first key at the top left side. Check the name of that key and tell me. Num lock. Press num lock and tell me which indicator light will come on. It's the first one. All right, please turn on all your indicator lights for me now. Are they all on? So the num lock has an indicator light. Have you seen it? And that indicator light is very important. And the num lock is also very important. Just like we have caps lock, we also have num lock, right? Let me show you something on the num lock or the numeric keypad. First of all, I've told you that you can practice typing on the numeric keypad, right? So we call it the 10 key. In Mavis Beacon, you can register for the 10 key typing practice, and you will do your practice only on the 10 key or the number keys with just one hand. Now, on the numeric keypad, we call this a numeric keypad. The first key here is called the what? Numlock. Numlock is used to activate the numbers on the numeric keypad. Listen to me. The numeric keypad, apart from the numlock and the command keys here, every other key has 2 characters. Maybe the operator keys here too do not, but from here, all the numbers and the dots, they all have 2 characters on them. The 8, what do you see under 8? Up arrow, not page up. On 9, what do you see? On 6, what do you see? Right arrow, right? On 3, what do you see? On 2, what do you see? On 1, what do you see? On 4, what do you see? Please, I'm going to use my numeric keypad and I'm going to press 9. When I press 9, check what is happening. What is happening? It's scrolling what? This is what will work if the numlock is off. If the numlock is off, you are going to get the function at the bottom of the numeric keypad. So you see that page down is at the bottom, right? Yes. Good. Over here we have 8 and what? Up arrow, right? Let me move to Microsoft Word, and I'm going to click here. I'm going to press 8. When my numlock is off, watch what is happening. What is happening? The cursor is moving up, right? I'm going to press 2. I'm pressing 2 2. What is happening? The cursor is moving down. Good. So you can see that the numeric keypad has multiple functions. Now watch this. Now that I'm here, if I turn on the numlock and I press the 8, I'm going to get what? Now the numbers will work. You see numbers are working. But when the numlock is off, the second function will work. Do you get what I'm saying? Excellent. Apart from that, this operator is called division. This operator is called multiplication. This is subtraction. This is addition. So when you are working in a supermarket and you are dealing with numbers, you do mathematical or arithmetic operations with these keys. When you finish, you use the enter to execute. That is why we have the operator keys and enter. You type numbers plus numbers, enter. Type numbers minus numbers, numbers, enter. Asterisk is what we use for multiplication in computers. In computing, if you want to get the multiplication operator, it is asterisk. It's not X. X is an alphabet. You can type X when you are just showing numbers to people for them to think you want to multiply. But if you actually want to perform a multiplication operation, we use asterisk. Did you get what I said? When we get to Excel, you will see that if you want to multiply, you have to use asterisk. If you are doing programming, you want to multiply, use asterisk. And this is a forward slash. That's what we use for division. You get me? All right. And we've seen the indicator lights. The first indicator light is for what? Is for what? Numlock. The second indicator light is for what? And the third indicator light for what? So they are all lock, right? The first lock is what? Second lock, third lock, fourth lock. All right, so this brings us to the end of our studies. Next time we'll be moving to lesson 9 and we'll be learning about the computer mouse.